what happens when cannabis meets sacred sound. And I'm not talking about the music on your playlist, but vibrations, the very frequency that shapes reality itself. Imagine yourself lighting up a joint, closing your eyes, and instead of drifting off, you feel every drum beat ripple through your chest, every tone vibrating your bones until you're not just hearing the sound, you're becoming the sound. Could it be that cannabis isn't just heightening your senses, but actually opening vibrational portals inside of you? So for thousands of years, humans have combined plant medicines with rhythm, chanting, and instruments to connect with the divine. And maybe that wasn't just by accident. Maybe cannabis and sound were always meant to work together as partners in your awakening. And this is what we're going to be diving into today. And just so you know, the purpose of this channel is to take these deeper spiritual concepts and make them practical and relatable so that we can actually shift how we're living right now, not just talking about theory. And because this is still a very small channel, every time you comment, subscribe, share, or even hit that hype button, it makes a huge difference. It tells the algorithm, hey, this message matters, and I'm genuinely grateful for everyone who supports because it allows conversations like this to reach more people who are ready for them. So here's a question. Why is it that when you pair cannabis with sound, the experience feels so much bigger than either of them on their own? Have you ever noticed this? A simple drum beat feels like it's inside your body. A chant suddenly feels ancient, like it's been echoing for centuries. A single note on a singing bowl seems to vibrate through your entire being. It's almost as if cannabis is tuning your body into a different frequency, like tuning the dial on a radio. Normally, you're only catching the static of everyday life, thoughts, stress, to-do lists, but once cannabis enters the mix, suddenly that static clears and sound drops in as a pure signal. And what's even stranger is how fast it happens. One inhale, one strum of a guitar string, and it feels like you're transported somewhere beyond the ordinary. Could this be an accident, or did ancient traditions know something that we've just forgotten? Because if you look closely at history, cannabis was almost never used in silence. It was always paired with a rhythm, with a song, with vibration, which begs the question, what were our ancestors really doing when they combined these two forces? Were they just celebrating, or were they unlocking portals of consciousness that most of us barely scratch the surface of today? That's the mystery we're about to unravel. To really understand why cannabis and sound seem to work together so powerfully, we've got to look back, because across cultures, across continents, this pairing wasn't random. It was very intentional. Take the Scythians, a nomadic tribe from Central Asia over 2,000 years ago. Herodotus, the Greek historian, described them throwing cannabis seeds onto hot stones inside small tents. The space would fill with smoke while the tribe drummed and chanted. This wasn't recreation, it was a ritual. The smoke, the rhythm, the vibration, all of it woven together to shift their state of consciousness and open a doorway to the spirit world. In India, cannabis shows up in the Atharva Veda as one of the 5 sacred plants. Sadhus, which are wandering yogis devoted to Shiva, would drink bang, which is a cannabis elixir, and then chant mantras for hours. The chanting wasn't just sound, it was vibration aimed at dissolving the ego. And with cannabis in their system, that vibration would reverberate through every single cell. It wasn't about getting high, it was about aligning their bodies with cosmic frequency. The Rastafari movement gives us another clue. Ganja wasn't just a sacrament, it was paired with Naya Bingi drumming, a rhythm meant to connect directly with the heartbeat of the earth. The drumming, the chanting, the cannabis, together they weren't just creating music, they were creating portals, entering states of trance that allowed them to connect with the divine, with jaw in ways words alone just couldn't capture. Even in Africa and the Americas, cannabis was often tied to initiation rites or ceremonies that included chanting, singing, and drumming. The plant and the sound weren't separate, they were allies, working together to move energy, to release emotion, to connect the individual with something far bigger than themselves. So when we look at history, a pattern emerges. Cannabis has rarely been used in silence. Our ancestors knew the plant opened sensitivity to vibration, and they paired it with sound to amplify that effect. To them, sound wasn't entertainment, it was medicine. And when combined with cannabis, it became a doorway into realms beyond the ordinary. Which makes you wonder, if they were able to unlock those portals with simple drums and chants, what could we do today with the sound technology and knowledge we have at our fingertips? So why does cannabis amplify sound in such a profound way? Let's break it down to the core principles at play. So principle number 1, cannabis heightens sensory perception. So cannabis interacts with your endocannabinoid system, which regulates things like mood, memory, and sensory processing. That's why food tastes better, colors look brighter, and sound just feels richer when you're under its influence. But this isn't just about sensory pleasure, it's about awareness. The plant is tuning your nervous system to pick up on the layers of reality that you normally filter out. And when sound enters in this heightened state, you don't just hear it, you feel it rippling through your body. Principle 2. Sound is vibration, and so are you. So every single cell in your body vibrates. Every organ, every tissue, it all has its natural frequency. Sound healing works because those vibrations can entrain your body. It's just like tuning an instrument. Cannabis makes you more receptive to these shifts, and that's why a drum beat or a singing bowl can suddenly feel like it's rearranging you on the inside. The plant doesn't create the vibration, it opens you to receive it. So principle number 3 is the brainwave entrainment. Normally, we spend most of our waking lives in beta brainwaves, which is logical, busy thinking. Sound, especially repetitive rhythms or tones, can entrain your brain into slower states like alpha and theta, the same states reached in deep meditation or hypnosis. Cannabis naturally relaxes the nervous system and nudges you towards those states. Together, they're like a 1-2 punch. Cannabis quiets the mind, and sound pulls you in deeper, and suddenly you're in altered states of awareness that feel timeless. Principle number 4, emotional release through resonance. So sound and cannabis both have this uncanny ability to loosen what's stuck. Think about how a sad song could suddenly make you cry, or how a certain chant can make you feel joy from absolutely nowhere. Then, when you add cannabis into the mix and those emotions you've been suppressing all of a sudden rise to the surface. That's why some people report sudden laughter, tears, or even visions when combining sound baths with cannabis. The plant and the sound aren't creating those emotions, they're releasing what was already inside of you. Principle number 5, chakra and energy activation. So, in the yogic system, each chakra resonates with specific frequencies. For example, the root chakra resonates with lower, deeper sounds like drumming, while the crown chakra opens up with higher tones like bells or singing bowls. Cannabis enhances your sensitivity to these frequencies, making sound healing sessions feel more powerful and targeted. It's almost as if the plant is fine-tuning your energy so the vibrations can go exactly where they're needed. So when we put all of this together, cannabis and sound aren't just a fun pairing, they're complementary technologies. One opens you, the other reorganizes you. One clears the static, the other delivers the signal. And when you combine them with intention, they can create profound shifts in your consciousness, your emotions, and even your physical body. The first time I really understood the connection between cannabis and sound wasn't in a ceremony or a fancy sound bath. It was just in my own living room. I had just finished a long day of work, my mind was spinning with deadlines and to-do lists, and I decided to smoke a small bowl and to unwind. Instead of turning on Netflix though, I put on a pair of headphones and played a crystal singing bowl recording. Within minutes, I felt my whole body humming. The tones weren't just in my ears, they were moving through my chest, my stomach, and down into my legs. I closed my eyes, and for the first time in weeks, the constant noise in my head just went silent. I wasn't just hearing sound, I was becoming the sound. Another time, I went to a friend's sound bath. It was in this warehouse space in Oakland. Candles were everywhere, mats laid out on the floor, gongs and bowls were lined up like some futuristic temple. I took a small edible before the session started. Nothing too heavy, just enough to soften the edges, and as soon as the gongs began, I felt my body dissolve. Every vibration felt magnified. The deep gong tones seemed to shake loose all tension in my shoulders, while the higher bowls felt like they were lifting me out of my body. At one point, I swear I saw colors moving behind my eyelids like I was watching sound turn into light. And when it ended, I felt like I had been reset. More calm, more clear, and more in tune with myself. And I've seen this happen for others too. A client of mine who struggles with anxiety once told me she combined a low dose of cannabis with binaural beats right before bed. She said it was the first time in years that her body let go of the tightness in her chest. The sound had guided her into sleep. But it wasn't just rest. She woke up feeling like the anxiety had been dialed down several notches. Another friend who's a musician smokes before he plays guitar. He says it's not just about creativity, it's about resonance. He feels the notes moving through him, guiding his fingers almost like the cannabis makes him the instrument as much as the guitar. What all these experiences have in common is this. Cannabis heightens your sensitivity, and sound gives the sensitivity more direction. Together, they create experiences that are more than relaxation or entertainment. They become doorways into states of awareness and healing that you might not be able to reach otherwise. So how can you bring cannabis and sound together in a way that's intentional, safe, and truly transformative? Well, here is a step-by-step process for you to try. So, step number 1 is to set your intention. Before you even pick up the plant or hit play on a track, I want you to pause and ask yourself, what do I want from this experience? Maybe it's stress release, maybe it's emotional healing, maybe it's inspiration or just a deeper connection to yourself. That one question changes everything because cannabis responds to your frequency and your intention is the tuning fork. Now, step number 2 is to choose your dose wisely. Less is often more here. A small puff, a microdose edible, or just enough to shift your state without overwhelming it. The goal isn't to get lost in the high, but to stay present enough to listen. Remember, you're building a relationship with the plant, and relationships grow stronger through respect. Step number 3, create a sacred space. I want you to turn off distractions, dim the lights. You could light a candle, maybe add crystals or incense if that feels right for you. Then think of it as preparing a stage for both the cannabis and the sound to meet you. Even if it's just your bedroom or living room, shifting the environment shifts your state of mind. Step number 4 is to select your sound, and this is where it starts getting fun. So you could put on a singing bowl or gong recording and let the vibrations just move through you. You could also try binaural beats with headphones to entrain your brain into alpha or theta states. You could chant or hum a mantra to yourself. The vibration of your own voice could be just as powerful. Or if you play an instrument, let cannabis guide you into the resonance of your own music. Step number 5 is to just receive and observe. So close your eyes. Notice how the sound feels in your body. Where does it land? What emotions rise up? Don't force it. Don't judge it. Just let the cannabis open your awareness and let the sound carry you. Now, step 6 is to integrate the experience. When you finish, take a few minutes in silence. Journal what came up. Did you release anything? Did you feel inspired? Did your body shift? Even writing 1 or 2 sentences helps you anchor the insight so it doesn't just fade away with the high. So here's just a few ways that people have implemented this into their lives. For example, a stressed out professional could use this practice at night. Low dose cannabis plus soft binaural beats to clear the day and to ease into sleep. Someone on a healing journey might try combining cannabis with live sound baths, letting the gongs or bowls shake loose old emotional blocks. A creative could pair cannabis with chanting or drumming, using rhythm to enter flow states where ideas and inspiration just pour through. The key is always intention. When you treat cannabis and sound as partners in a ceremony, even a simple 20-minute session can feel like you've stepped into another world. So if there's one thing I hope you take from this video, it's that cannabis and sound together aren't just about getting high or listening to music. They're technologies of consciousness. Cannabis heightens your sensitivity, sound carries the frequency, and meditation anchors it into your own being. When you combine them with intention, even the simplest session can feel like stepping through a portal into a more expanded version of yourself. And I want to thank you for being here and for giving your time and energy to explore these ideas with me. This channel exists because I believe that spiritual tools aren't meant to stay abstract or hidden in ancient texts. They're meant to be lived, felt, and applied in ways that change how we show up in the world right now. And I'll be honest with you, as a new creator, every bit of support means the world to me. When you subscribe, when you drop a comment about what resonated with you, when you share this video with someone you know, or even when you hit the hype button, it tells the algorithm that these conversations matter. It's not just about numbers, it's about building a community of people who are ready to awaken together. And you being here, taking part in that already makes you a part of it. So if this video opened up something in you, even just a spark of curiosity, I'd be so grateful if you support it in any way that feels right for you. Because the more we grow, the more people can access these tools and the stronger our collective vibration begins. And if you want to go deeper, I created a free community that anyone can join just by clicking the link in my bio. I want to thank you deeply for watching, for listening, and for being open. And until next time, may you keep tuning into the frequencies that remind you of who you truly are. Thank you.